The huge spaceship named Indomitable moved slowly through the darkness of space. Captain Jack Reed sat in his command chair, looking at the stars on the big screen in front of him. He was tired. They had been on patrol for 3 weeks now, and nothing interesting had happened. "Captain, I'm getting something strange," said Lisa, the communications officer. She touched her earpiece and frowned. "It sounds like a call for help." Jack turned his chair toward her. "From who? We're not near any human ships." "That's the thing, sir. It's not human. The language is unknown, but the pattern is clear. Someone out there needs help." The bridge grew quiet. Earth had only joined the space community 2 years ago. Most aliens still looked at humans with fear and doubt. Humans came from Earth, a planet that other species called a death world because it was so dangerous. Earthquakes, storms, predators, and disease. Earth had it all. This made humans tough and hard to kill, which scared many aliens. "Can you clean up the signal?" Jack asked. Lisa worked at her screen. After a minute, she played the message. A voice filled the bridge. It was high and musical, but the fear in it was easy to hear. "Help. Attack. No weapons. Dying." "Location?" Jack asked. Tom, the navigator, spoke up. "About 2 days away at full speed, sir. It's coming from the Vega sector." Jack thought for a moment. Order said to avoid contact with aliens unless command approved first. But someone was in trouble. He pressed a button on his chair. "Command, this is Captain Reed of the Indomitable. We've picked up an alien distress call, requesting permission to respond." There was a long pause. Then a voice answered. "This is Admiral Wilson. What species sent the call?" "Unknown, sir, but they're under attack and asking for help." Another pause. Jack knew what the Admiral was thinking. This could be a chance to show the galaxy that humans were more than just scary Deathworlders, that they could be friends and protectors too. "Permission granted, Captain. But be careful. This might be a trap. Some species still think we're dangerous animals." "Understood." Indomitable out. Jack looked at Tom. "Set course for the signal. Maximum speed." The ship's engines roared to life. Stars on the screen began to stretch as the Indomitable jumped to faster-than-light travel. Jack called the ship's weapons officer. "Mike, prepare all systems for combat. We don't know what we're flying into." "Yes, sir," Mike answered, excited. This was their first real mission since leaving Earth. Jack stood up and looked at his crew. "Listen up. We're about to meet some new aliens. They're in trouble, and we're going to help them. This might be the first time they've seen humans. Remember your training. Show them that Earth doesn't just produce survivors, it produces heroes." The crew nodded, determination in their eyes. What none of them knew was that the distress call had been broadcasting for 3 days. 17 alien ships had heard it. All had ignored it. In the galaxy, it was common to mind your own business. Species helped their own kind, not strangers. Only the humans, the feared Deathworlders, had chosen to respond. As the Indomitable raced through space, the alien ship sending the signal was losing hope. Their attackers had damaged their engines. Their weapons, weak to begin with, were gone. They were a peaceful trading species, never meant for war. The ship's captain, a tall blue-skinned being named Krell, looked at the stars. His people would die here, far from home. Then a crew member called out, "Captain, a ship is approaching. Fast." A small spark of hope lit in Krell's heart. Then fear replaced it. What if it was another enemy? "Can you identify it?" he asked. "No. Wait. It can't be." The crew member looked up, eyes wide. "It's a human ship." Silence fell over the bridge. The Deathworlders were coming. The Indomitable dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a flash of light. Captain Jack Reed leaned forward in his chair, eyes fixed on the main screen. "What am I looking at?" he asked, voice tight. Before them floated 2 ships. One was huge and sleek, with smooth blue curves. It looked like a whale swimming through space. The other ship was smaller but meaner looking, with sharp edges and weapon ports glowing red along its side. The blue ship had several holes in its hull, and parts of it were on fire. "Sir, the smaller ship is attacking the blue one," said Tom. "Looks like they've been at it for a while." Lisa touched her screen and reported, "The distress call is coming from the blue ship, Captain. They call themselves the Luminary." Jack nodded. "Open a channel to both ships." "Channel open, sir." Jack stood up, straightening his uniform. "This is Captain Jack Reed of the Earth Alliance ship Indomitable. We are responding to a distress call. Stop your attack immediately." There was silence for a moment. Then a face appeared on the screen. It was blue-skinned with large, completely black eyes. Its voice was musical, but strained with fear. "Earth ship, thank the stars. I am Captain Krell of the Luminary trading vessel Sunseeker. These pirates attacked us 3 days ago. They've disabled our engines and weapons. They're trying to board us to take our people as slaves. Please help us." The screen split, and another face appeared. This alien was gray with a hard shell covering its head. Its eyes were small and mean. "This is none of your business, human," it growled. "This is between us and the Light Eaters. Leave now or face the consequences." Jack's eyes narrowed. "I'm afraid I can't do that. You are attacking a helpless ship. I order you to stand down." The pirate captain laughed. "You order me? One ship against my Void Reaver. You humans are as stupid as they say." "Final warning," Jack said simply. "Stop your attack and leave, or we will make you leave." The pirate cut the connection. Jack turned to Mike. "Target their weapon systems. Warning shot first." "Yes, sir," Mike said, fingers dancing across his control panel. The Indomitable fired a single shot that flashed past the pirate ship's nose. The pirates responded with a full attack, shooting energy beams toward the human ship. "They're firing on us," Tom shouted. "Shields holding at 90%, reported Emma, the ship's engineer. "Their weapons are stronger than we expected." Jack's face hardened. "Return fire. Full weapons." The Indomitable's guns lit up the darkness of space. The pirate ship tried to dodge, but wasn't fast enough. Several hits landed on its hull, making it shake. On the Luminary ship, Captain Krell and his crew watched in amazement. The humans had arrived and immediately jumped into battle. No questions, no negotiations with the pirates, no requests for payment. They simply saw someone in trouble and acted. "Have you ever seen anything like this?" asked Krell's second-in-command. Krell shook his head slowly. "No species fights for strangers. It's unheard of." The pirate ship circled around, trying to get behind the Indomitable. But Jack had been ready for this move. "Hard turn to port," he ordered. The human ship swung around faster than the pirates expected, bringing all its guns to bear again. "Fire everything." The Indomitable unleashed its full power. The pirate shields flashed, trying to absorb the energy, then failed. Several shots hit their engines, causing explosions. "Their shields are down," Mike reported with a grin. "And we've damaged their engines. They can't run." Jack opened the channel again. "Void Reaver ship, your shields are down, and your engines are damaged. Surrender now." The pirate captain's face appeared, angry and shocked. "This is impossible. You're just Deathworlders. You shouldn't have technology this advanced." "We don't," Jack said simply. "But we have something better. We have purpose. Now surrender." The pirate ship slowly powered down its remaining weapons. Jack nodded to his security chief. "Prepare a boarding party. Let's meet these pirates face to face." As the humans prepared to board the pirate vessel, the Luminary watched in wonder. The Deathworlders had arrived and changed everything in less than 10 minutes. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. Captain Jack stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, his face grim. What had seemed like a simple rescue was turning into a major battle. 3 more pirate ships had appeared, joining the first one. Sir, they have some kind of special shield, Mike reported, frustration clear in his voice. Our weapons hit but don't do much damage anymore. The pirates had adapted quickly. Their shields now glowed with a strange purple light that seemed to eat their weapon fire. Jack watched as the luminary ship took another hit. Their blue hull cracked in a new place. They wouldn't last much longer. We need a new plan, Jack said. He turned to Emma. What about ramming them? Emma's eyes went wide. Ramming, sir? You mean hit them with our ship? Exactly. Can our hull take it? Emma did some quick calculations on her screen. Yes, but the crew will feel it. The impact will be hard. Jack nodded and pressed the ship-wide communication button. All crew, secure yourselves. We're going to ram the enemy. On the luminary ship, Captain Krell heard this message and couldn't believe his ears. They're going to do what? He asked his translator. Ram the pirates. Hit them with their ship, the translator said, voice shaking. That's suicide. Krell said. No species does that. But the humans did. The Indomitable turned, its engines flaring bright, and shot straight toward the nearest pirate ship. The impact shook both vessels. Metal screamed against metal. The pirate ship's shield flickered and died. Inside the Indomitable, the crew held tight to their stations. The ship groaned around them. Damage report, Jack called out, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Hull integrity at 78%, Emma reported. We can take another hit like that if we need to. Jack nodded. The pirate's shield is down. Fire all weapons. The Indomitable's guns blazed, tearing into the now unprotected pirate ship. It exploded in a ball of fire. But the other pirates weren't giving up. They surrounded the human ship, their weapons charging. Sir, we can't ram all of them, Mike said. Jack thought for a moment. No, but we can board them. He turned to his security chief, Ben. Get your team ready for spacewalk. We're going to board the lead pirate ship and take it over. Ben grinned. Yes, sir. Minutes later, 10 humans in spacesuits launched from the Indomitable. Using small jets on their backs, they flew through space toward the biggest pirate ship. The pirates saw them coming but didn't understand what was happening. No species ever sent living beings into open space to fight. The humans landed on the pirate ship's hull. Using special tools, they cut their way inside. The ship's alarms blared. Inside the pirate vessel, gray-shelled aliens ran in panic. These strange beings had cut through their hull and were inside. The Deathworlders were coming for them. Meanwhile, Jack had another plan ready. Emma, what about that biological package we've been carrying? Emma raised her eyebrows. The bacteria. It's meant for terraforming, not fighting. But it eats metal, right? Emma nodded slowly, understanding his plan. Yes, and these pirate ships have a lot of exposed metal parts. Release it toward the smallest pirate ship, Jack ordered. Emma pressed several buttons. A small canister shot out from the Indomitable. When it hit the pirate ship, it broke open, releasing a cloud of tiny bacteria that immediately began eating the ship's outer hull. The pirates had never seen anything like it. Their ship was being eaten alive. On the luminary vessel, Captain Krell watched all this with his mouth open. The humans were fighting in ways no one had ever imagined. Ramming ships, sending living beings into space to fight, using tiny life forms as weapons. They truly are Deathworlders, Krell whispered, but they're fighting for us. Within an hour, the battle was over. One pirate ship destroyed, one taken over by Ben's team, and one fleeing with half its hull eaten away. The humans had won using tactics no other species would even think of. And across the galaxy, the legend of the Deathworlders grew. Captain Jack stood in the meeting room of the Indomitable. The battle was over. His crew had patched the worst holes in the luminary ship. Now it was time to talk. Captain Krell sat across from him. The blue alien was tall and thin, with skin that seemed to glow slightly. Two other luminaries sat beside him, their large black eyes watching Jack carefully. "We thank you for saving us," Krell said. His voice had a musical quality that made the humans smile. "No species has ever fought for strangers before." Jack shrugged. "On Earth, we have a rule. Help those who need it." Krell tilted his head. "Strange rule. Most species only help themselves." Lisa, who sat next to Jack, leaned forward. "Why were you so far from your home?" "Our records show the luminary rarely travel." A sad look crossed Krell's face. His skin dimmed slightly. "We had no choice. Our home is dying." The room grew quiet. Jack asked, "What do you mean?" Krell touched a small device on his wrist. A 3D image appeared above the table. It showed a beautiful star system with 3 planets circling a bright yellow sun. "This was our home for 10,000 years. The image changed. Now the sun was dimmer, redder. The planets looked darker. But 3 years ago, our sun began to cool. The scientists say it will continue for hundreds of years. And your people need sunlight," Emma said, understanding. Krell nodded. "We are photosynthetic. Our bodies make food from light, like plants on your world. Less light means slow starvation." "So you're looking for a new home," Jack said. "Yes, but..." Krell's voice trailed off. "But what?" Jack prompted. "We have asked 12 other systems if we could settle there. All said no." Krell's skin dimmed even more. "No one wants to share their sun. They fear we will take too much light." The humans exchanged looks. Jack understood. Resources in space were limited. Most species guarded what they had. "How many of your people need to move?" he asked. 8 million, Krell answered. "Our whole species." Jack whistled. "That's a lot. But not impossible." Krell looked at him in surprise. "You think someone will help us?" Jack smiled. "I think we will." The luminary all stared at him. One of Krell's companions said something quick and sharp in their language. "My friend thinks you are joking." Krell translated. "Why would humans share with us?" Jack leaned back in his chair. "Because we can. Our system has more planets than we need right now." He pointed to the star map on the wall. "Especially Venus." Emma nodded excitedly. "Venus. It's perfect. It's closer to our sun, gets more light than Earth, and has a thick atmosphere that would protect you from radiation." "But isn't Venus one of your planets?" Krell asked, confused. "Yes, but we can't live there," Jack explained. "It's too hot for humans, over 450 degrees. The air would kill us. We've only set up a few research stations in the upper atmosphere." "But for your people," Emma continued, "it could be paradise. All that sunlight, no competition, and you'd be close enough to Earth for trade." Krell's skin began to glow brighter. "You would share your sun with us. Your system." Jack nodded. "We have the room. You need the light. It makes sense." The luminary looked at each other, their skin pulsing with light in what the humans realized was their way of showing excitement. "In all our searching," Krell said softly, "no one has offered us anything. Yet you, the feared Deathworlders, offer us a home." "Deathworlders," Jack chuckled. "Maybe that's why we understand. On Earth, we learned long ago that cooperation helps everyone survive." "Then we accept," Krell said, standing up. "If your leaders agree." Jack stood too and held out his hand in the human way. "I'll contact Earth now. We'll escort you there." As the luminary left to tell their people the news, Lisa turned to Jack. "Sir, do you think Earth will really agree?" Jack nodded confidently. "They will. Because today we learned something important." "What's that?" asked Emma. "Being Deathworlders doesn't just make us strong fighters," Jack said. "It makes us understand what matters most, finding ways to live, even in the harshest conditions. And sometimes that means helping others do the same." The two ships moved through space side by side. The Indomitable, though smaller, flew slightly ahead of the massive luminary vessel, Captain Jack had promised to lead them safely to Earth, and he meant to keep that promise. "How long until we reach Earth?" asked Captain Krell. He stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the stars on the main screen. 3 more days, Jack answered. "My government is excited to meet you. They're already planning how to help your people settle on Venus." Krell's skin glowed brighter. "My people sing songs about the humans now. The Deathworlders who fight like warriors but share like family." Jack smiled, but his smile faded as Lisa called out from her station. "Captain, there's something strange ahead. Some kind of storm." Jack frowned. "Storm? In space?" "It's a radiation storm," Emma explained, looking at her screens. "Sometimes they happen after a star releases a big burst of energy." Tom brought up an image on the main screen. Ahead of them was a swirling cloud of golden light that stretched across their path. "Can we go around it?" Jack asked. Tom shook his head. "It would take 2 extra weeks, and we're low on food." Jack nodded. "Then we go through. Raise shields to maximum." "Sir," Emma said quietly, "our shields will protect us, but the luminary ship doesn't have strong shields like ours." Jack turned to Krell. "How bad would this radiation be for your people?" Krell's skin dimmed to almost gray. "Very bad. Our bodies are sensitive to certain types of radiation. It could kill many of us." The bridge went quiet. Then Jack stood up straight. "Then we'll protect you," he said simply. "How?" asked Krell. "We'll position the Indomitable between your ship and the storm. Our shields will take the worst of it." Emma looked worried. "Sir, our shields aren't designed to protect a ship that big. They'll weaken quickly. The crew will be exposed to radiation." "How bad?" Emma typed on her screen. "Not immediately fatal, but everyone will get sick. Some might have long-term problems." Jack thought for a moment. Then he turned to the ship-wide communication system. "Attention all crew. Ahead of us is a radiation storm. The luminary ship can't survive it, but we can. I plan to position our ship to shield them as we pass through. This means everyone will be exposed to radiation. It will make you sick, but our doctors can treat you. This is volunteer only. Anyone who doesn't want to do this can stay in the shielded medical bay." He waited. Around the ship, 200 crew members heard his message. Not one went to the medical bay. Jack smiled proudly. "Okay, Tom. Position us between the storm and the luminary ship. Emma, divert all power to forward shields. Everyone else, take radiation meds now." The Indomitable moved into position, its bulk shielding the much larger luminary vessel. As they entered the storm, golden light swirled around them. The ship's shields glowed bright, then began to flicker. "Shields at 60%, Emma reported. "Radiation starting to get through." Jack nodded, already feeling a headache beginning. "Keep going." Hour after hour, they pushed through the storm. The humans worked in shifts, no one staying at their post more than an hour before being replaced. Everyone was sick now. Some threw up at their stations. Others could barely stand. But they kept going. On the luminary ship, Krell watched in amazement. His people were safe because the humans were suffering in their place. No species had ever done such a thing for them. "Why?" he asked Jack through the communication screen. "Why are you doing this?" Jack, his face pale and sweaty, smiled weakly. "Because it's right. And because we can take it. Deathworlders, remember." After 18 hours, they finally passed through the storm. The Indomitable's crew cheered weakly, many collapsing at their stations. Medical teams rushed around, giving treatments. Krell came aboard to thank them personally. Walking through the ship, seeing the sick humans who had sacrificed for his people, he finally understood something important. The humans were called Deathworlders because they could survive terrible things. But that wasn't what made them special. What made them special was that they chose to use that strength to help others. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The Indomitable and the luminary ship finally reached Earth's solar system. Despite the radiation sickness, the human crew stood at their posts proudly as they approached the blue-green planet they called home. "We've received clearance to dock at Earth Orbital Station 1, Lisa announced, her voice weak but happy. Captain Jack, still pale from radiation exposure, nodded. "And the luminary ship?" "They've been directed to high Venus orbit. Engineering teams are already on their way to help them establish their first settlement." A cheer went up from the crew. They had done it. They had brought the luminary safely to their new home. But all was not well. As the Indomitable docked, Jack received a message from Admiral Wilson. "There's a problem," the Admiral said. "A group called Earth First is protesting the luminary settlement. They're saying we shouldn't share our system with aliens." Jack frowned. "That's ridiculous. Venus is useless to us." "I know that. You know that. But fear isn't always logical." The Admiral's face was serious. "And there's more. The Galactic Council has sent representatives. They say we've broken some rule by inviting another species into our system." "We'll deal with it," Jack said firmly. The next day, Jack and Krell stood in a large meeting room on the space station. Earth First protesters waved signs outside the windows. Inside, 3 aliens from the Galactic Council sat across from them. "This is most irregular," said the lead council member, a tall green being named Vorex. "No species shares their star system with another. There are rules about this." "What rules?" Jack asked. Vorex blinked slowly. "The rules of nature. Each species must secure its own resources." "That's not a rule," Jack countered. "That's just how things have always been done. We're doing something new." "New is dangerous," said another council member. Meanwhile, in a different part of the station, a small group of humans from Earth First had managed to sneak aboard. They carried a device toward the docking bay where the luminary shuttle was parked. "This will show those light eaters they're not welcome here," said the leader. "The bomb will destroy their shuttle and send a message." Back in the meeting room, an alarm suddenly blared. "Security breach in docking bay 7, announced a voice. "Possible explosive device detected." Jack jumped to his feet. "That's where the luminary shuttle is." Without thinking, he ran from the room, Krell close behind him. Despite still being weak from radiation sickness, Jack sprinted through the station's corridors. When they reached the docking bay, they found security officers surrounding 3 Earth First members. The bomb sat on the floor near the luminary shuttle, its timer counting down. "Everyone out," shouted the security chief. "We can't disarm it in time." The room began to empty, but Jack noticed something terrible. 2 young luminary were still inside the shuttle, watching with frightened eyes. "Krell, there are children in there," Jack shouted. Without hesitation, Jack ran to the bomb. His hand shook as he lifted it. The timer showed only 30 seconds left. "What are you doing?" Krell cried. "Getting it away from your people," Jack grunted. He carried the bomb to a small maintenance airlock and shoved it inside. His fingers fumbled with the controls. 20 seconds. 15. 10. The outer door opened, sucking the bomb into space. Jack collapsed against the wall, exhausted. 5 seconds later, they saw a flash of light outside the station as the bomb exploded safely in the emptiness of space. The Galactic Council members had watched everything from a safe distance. Now they approached slowly, their eyes wide. "You risked your life," Vorex said to Jack, "for aliens, while already weakened from saving them before." Jack shrugged. They needed help. Vorex turned to the other council members. "Perhaps we should reconsider our position. These humans, they do not behave as expected." As medical staff helped Jack to his feet, the Earth First leader was being led away in handcuffs. "You'll regret this," he shouted. "They'll take everything from us." Jack looked at him sadly. "No, they won't. They'll give us more than they take. That's how cooperation works." As Krell brought his children from the shuttle to thank Jack personally, the captain realized something important. The true battle wasn't against space pirates or radiation storms. It was against fear, the fear of the different, the fear of change. And that was a battle worth fighting, no matter how hard. 2 months passed since the luminary arrived at Venus. Captain Jack stood at the window of Earth Orbital Station 1, looking out at the busy space around him. His body had finally recovered from the radiation sickness, though the doctors said some of his crew would have health problems for years to come. None of them complained. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said Admiral Wilson, joining him at the window. Jack nodded. In the distance, Venus shone brightly. Around it, new structures could be seen. Giant solar collectors built by human and luminary engineers working together. The collectors gathered extra sunlight for the luminary, while also sending power back to Earth. "The first 10,000 luminary families have settled in," the Admiral said. "The rest will arrive over the next year." "And Earth first?" Jack asked. The Admiral smiled. "Their membership is dropping fast. Hard to hate the luminary when they're sending us free power." A group of luminary walked by, their blue skin glowing healthily under the station lights. They bowed respectfully to Jack. Since the rescue, every luminary did this when they saw him. "Captain," called Lisa, hurrying toward him. "The Galactic Council's decision just came in." Jack took the tablet she offered and read quickly. Then he grinned. "They've created new rules for system sharing," he said, "based on our agreement with the luminary." "That's not all," Lisa said excitedly. "Look at the bottom." Jack scrolled down, and his eyes widened. 6 other species have requested human help with their problems. "Are you serious?" The Admiral nodded. "The Galactic Council is calling it the Deathworlder Directive. Species in trouble can ask for human assistance. We're becoming the galaxy's emergency responders." Jack shook his head in wonder. When humans first joined the galactic community, other species had feared them. Deathworlders. Too aggressive. Too unpredictable. Now, those same traits were seen as valuable. Later that day, Jack met Krell at the new Venus Command Center. Through the window, they could see the first luminary city taking shape in Venus's upper atmosphere, floating on huge platforms. "My people are thriving here," Krell said happily. "The children born on Venus are already stronger than those born on our old world. And the solar collectors are working perfectly," Jack added. "Earth is getting 20% more power than before. Everyone wins." Krell's skin glowed warmly. "The galaxy is changing because of what happened. For thousands of years, species kept to themselves, competed, sometimes fought. No one ever thought of sharing. Cooperation," Jack said. "On Earth, we learned it's often the best way to survive. Even enemies can work together when the situation demands it." A young officer approached them. "Captain Reed, there's a message for you. A distress call from a mining colony in the TA system. Their sun is flaring, threatening their equipment and people." Jack looked at Krell. "Duty calls. Will you go?" Krell asked. "Of course." Jack checked his tablet. "The Indomitable is refitted and ready. My crew is already boarding." Krell placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, a human gesture he had learned. "Then I will go too. The luminary know about solar flares. We can help." Jack grinned. Deathworlders and luminary working together. The galaxy won't know what hit it. As they walked toward the docking bay, other aliens in the station moved aside, watching them with respect and wonder. Word had spread across the stars of the humans who fought like demons but shared like saints, of the light beings who found a new home and new purpose. Together, they had created something the galaxy had never seen before, a partnership between different worlds, different biologies, different ways of thinking. As the Indomitable launched once more into the stars, this time with luminary crew members aboard, the message was clear to all who saw it. The age of isolation was ending. A new age of cooperation had begun, and it had started with a distress call, answered by the most unlikely heroes, the Deathworlders of Earth. The grand hall of the Luminary High Council glittered with soft blue light. 12 tall, thin beings sat around a circular table, their skin shimmering like polished silver. Fear filled the room. On the large screen before them, another luminary colony burned. Ambassador Trell stood at his full height of 7 feet. Despite his impressive stature among his kind, his body was frail by many standards. Like all luminary, he had evolved on a world with low gravity and few dangers. Their minds had grown powerful while their bodies remained delicate. The Vex have destroyed 3 more colonies, Trell said, his voice trembling. Our outer defenses have failed. At this rate, they will reach our homeworld in 30 days. Council leader Mira shook her head. Our shields cannot stop their weapons. Our people are dying. What options remain? The room fell silent. The Luminary had spent thousands of years building their peaceful civilization. War was almost unknown to them. Now, the aggressive Vex Empire wanted their resource-rich planets and did not care who they had to kill to get them. Trell took a deep breath. There is one option we have not tried. The beings from the Forbidden Zone. Gasps filled the room. Everyone knew what he meant. Beyond the borders of known space lived creatures so terrifying that most galactic maps marked their territory with simple warnings. Danger, Deathworld. You cannot be serious, said Science Minister Pax. Those creatures evolved on a high-gravity planet filled with predators. They breathe toxic oxygen at high levels. Their bones are dense as metal, and their muscles can tear a luminary apart. We have observed them from a distance. They spend their entire history fighting each other. Trell nodded. Yes, and that is exactly why we need them now. He pressed a button, and a new image appeared on the screen. A blue-green planet orbiting an average yellow star. They call themselves humans, and their planet Earth. Our long-range scans show they have developed space travel and have colonies on nearby planets. They have weapons that might match the Vex. But they are barbarians, protested Mira. How could we possibly control such creatures if we invite them into our space? Trell looked at each council member. We don't need to control them. We need to hire them. They have a concept called trade. We offer technology. They offer protection. The council argued for hours. Finally, when reports came in of another colony falling to the Vex, they made their decision. In a small communication room, Trell carefully prepared the message. It would travel across vast distances to reach human space. He worked with language experts to translate it into the most common human languages. The message was simple. To the people of Earth, we are the Luminary, a peaceful civilization under attack by a hostile force called the Vex Empire. They destroy our worlds and kill our people. We have observed your species and believe you have the strength we lack. We offer advanced technology in exchange for your help. These coordinates will lead to a safe meeting place. Please respond. This is our last hope. Trell sent the message and watched as it disappeared into the depths of space. He felt both hope and dread. Would the humans ignore them? Would they come only to conquer the Luminary themselves? Or would they actually help? 3 days later, as the Vex destroyed yet another Luminary world, a response arrived. It was brief and direct. Message received. Fleet dispatched. Coordinates accepted. Arrive in 6 days. Prepare to discuss terms. Admiral Reynolds, United Earth Defense Fleet. The Luminary had called for help from the most feared beings in the galaxy. And they were coming. Admiral Jack Reynolds stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, flagship of humanity's most powerful battle group. The stars streaked past as the fleet traveled at speeds once thought impossible. 6 massive warships, each carrying thousands of crew members and enough firepower to level continents, moved in perfect formation. Reynolds studied the alien message again. After 20 years in Earth's defense forces, he never expected to be leading humanity's first official contact with alien life. Still think this could be a trap, sir? Asked Captain Marcus, the fleet's intelligence officer. Reynolds shrugged his broad shoulders. Possibly. but the Security Council agreed the risk is worth taking. The luminary technology described in their message could advance us by centuries, said Ellie Park, the expedition's diplomatic specialist. Though small in stature, her reputation as Earth's finest negotiator made her presence essential. Marcus frowned. Or we could be flying into an ambush. That's why we brought the big guns, Reynolds replied, gesturing to the tactical display showing their fleet. The Defiant alone could handle most threats. With all 6 ships, we're ready for anything. The bridge crew worked quietly, each person feeling the weight of history on their shoulders. Humanity had long suspected they weren't alone in the universe. Now they had proof. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a new transmission from the Luminary. They're thanking us for coming." "They sound desperate." Reynolds nodded. "Tell them we'll arrive at the coordinates in 12 hours. Later in the briefing room, Reynolds met with his command staff. The walls displayed everything Earth knew about the region of space they were entering. The Luminary appeared to be telling the truth about the attacks, Marcus said, showing footage captured by long-range probes. "These Vex have destroyed at least 5 planets in the past month. What do we know about both species?" Reynolds asked. Ellie brought up biological scans. The Luminary evolved on a low-gravity world with minimal environmental dangers. Their bodies are fragile by our standards, but their technology is impressive. The Vex appear more robust, with natural armor plating and significant physical strength. Neither compares to humans in terms of endurance or adaptability, added Dr. Wilson, the fleet's chief medical officer. "We evolved on a higher gravity world with extreme temperature variations and countless predators, what they call a death world." Reynolds smiled slightly. "So we're the scary aliens." "Very much so," Ellie confirmed. "Our research suggests most galactic species would find humans terrifying. We're stronger, faster, and more durable than most. Our bodies can process toxins that would kill others, and we recover from injuries that would be fatal to many species. Let's use that to our advantage," Reynolds decided. "We'll approach peacefully, but I want our strength visible. Full combat gear for the greeting party." When the Earth fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the designated coordinates, they found 3 luminary ships waiting. The alien vessels were beautiful, sleek silver shapes that seemed to flow rather than be constructed. "They're hailing us," reported the communications officer. "On screen," Reynolds ordered. The face that appeared shocked everyone on the bridge. The luminary ambassador was tall and thin, with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer with its own light. His eyes were large and completely black, set in a face that looked almost human but too perfect, like a statue. "Admiral Reynolds," the alien said in careful English, "I am Ambassador Trell of the Luminary Confederation. Your arrival brings us hope when we had none. Thank you for answering our call." Reynolds stood straight, conscious of representing all of humanity. "We received your distress signal and have come to discuss how we might help. I suggest we meet in person to talk further." The luminary's eyes widened slightly. "In person? Yes, of course. We have prepared for this. Please, send your representatives to our command vessel." As the transmission ended, Reynolds turned to his team. "Looks like we've got ourselves an invitation. Let's not keep our new friends waiting." The shuttle from the UES Defiant approached the luminary vessel. Inside, Admiral Reynolds adjusted his uniform one last time. Beside him sat Ellie Park, Marcus, and 2 Marines who stood at perfect attention, their combat armor gleaming under the shuttle's lights. "Remember," Ellie whispered, "this is a historic moment. First official contact between humans and an alien civilization." Reynolds nodded. "Let's hope it goes better than our first meetings with each other back on Earth." The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. As the airlock cycled, scanners confirmed the atmosphere was breathable, though slightly thinner than Earth standard. "Helmets off," Reynolds ordered. "Let them see our faces." The door slid open, and the humans stepped into the luminary ship. The corridor was tall and wide, bathed in soft blue light. 3 luminari waited for them. Up close, the aliens were even more striking. They stood nearly 7 feet tall, but their bodies were thin, almost fragile-looking. Their silver skin had a slight glow, and their movements were graceful but cautious. Ambassador Trell stepped forward, then froze. His large black eyes widened as he took in the humans. Though Reynolds and his team considered themselves average, to the luminary they were shocking. Shorter but far more solid, with obvious muscle mass visible even through their clothing. "You are smaller than we expected," Trell said finally, his voice musical. "But your density readings are remarkable." Reynolds smiled, careful not to show too many teeth. "We come from a high-gravity world. It shapes our bodies differently." The luminary guided them to a meeting room. The furniture looked delicate, and Reynolds gestured for his team to be careful as they sat down. "We appreciate your quick response to our call," Trell began. "The situation has grown worse. The Vex have now destroyed 7 of our colony worlds. We'd like to understand exactly what we're dealing with," Reynolds said. "Tell us about these Vex." Trell touched a control, and a hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed reptilian-looking aliens with natural armor plates. They weren't as tall as the luminary, but much more physically imposing. The Vex Empire has existed for centuries. They expand by taking resources from other worlds. Our territory is rich in minerals they desire. Our worlds have perfect atmospheres and gentle environments. "And your defenses?" Marcus asked. "We have shield technology and energy weapons," another luminary explained. "But the Vex have found ways to overcome them. We are not warriors." "That much is obvious," one of the Marines muttered. Reynolds shot him a warning glance. "What exactly do you want from us?" Reynolds asked directly. "Protection," Trell said simply. "Help us defend our remaining worlds. In exchange, we offer technology. Our faster-than-light drives are 3 times more efficient than yours. Our medical science could extend human lifespans by decades." Ellie leaned forward. "Would this be a temporary arrangement, or something more permanent?" "We hope for a lasting alliance," Trell replied. "Our peoples could complement each other. We have knowledge. You have strength." Reynolds considered this. "I need to see your military capabilities, such as they are, and we should arrange a demonstration of what we're offering each other." Trell agreed quickly. As the meeting continued, the luminary brought refreshments. Reynolds noticed how the aliens watched in fascination as the humans easily lifted cups that the luminary struggled with. Later, as they toured the luminary ship, a sudden alarm blared. Trell's face showed clear distress. "What's happening?" Reynolds demanded. "The Vex," Trell said, his voice trembling. "They've launched an attack on our homeworld. They must have learned of our meeting." Reynolds didn't hesitate. "How far is it? Can we reach it in time?" 3 light jumps away, perhaps 2 of your Earth days." Reynolds touched his communicator. Defiant, "This is Admiral Reynolds. Prepare the fleet for immediate departure. We're about to show our new friends what humans can do in a fight." The luminary looked at the humans with both hope and fear. They had called for help from the legendary Deathworlders. Now they would see firsthand what that truly meant. The war room aboard the UEA's Defiant hummed with activity. Admiral Reynolds studied the holographic display showing the luminary home system. Around him stood both human officers and luminary representatives, an unlikely alliance born of desperation. "The Vex fleet will reach your homeworld in 18 hours, Reynolds said, pointing to the red markers approaching the blue-green planet. "We need to position our ships here and here to create a defensive line." Trell and the other luminary looked confused. "But that would place your vessels directly in the path of their weapons. Our strategy has been to avoid direct confrontation." Captain Alex, the fleet's tactical officer, couldn't hide her surprise. "And how has that been working for you?" "Not well," Trell admitted quietly. Reynolds turned to the luminary military commander, a thin being named Viren, who seemed perpetually nervous. "Show me your combat training programs. How do you prepare your crews for battle? Varen hesitated. We have simulations for emergency situations, but actual combat is rare in our history. The humans exchanged glances. They had suspected the Luminary were unprepared, but this was worse than imagined. We have less than a day, Reynolds decided. Captain Alex, I want you to set up basic combat training for the Luminary crews. Focus on evasive maneuvers and shield management. Yes, sir, Alex replied, already planning how to compress months of training into hours. Technical Officer Raj, Reynolds continued, work with their engineers. See if we can integrate some of our weapons systems with their ships. Raj, a brilliant engineer with quick hands and quicker mind, nodded eagerly. Their energy distribution systems are amazing, Admiral. If we can hook our railguns into their power grid, we might double our effective range. As the teams dispersed, Marcus approached Reynolds privately. Sir, I've analyzed the Vex attack pattern. Something doesn't add up. Why target the homeworld now, when their previous strategy was working? Reynolds frowned. You think they know about us? I think they've detected our fleet and want to force our hand before we can properly prepare. The Admiral considered this. Then we need to split our forces. The Defiant and Intrepid will defend the homeworld. The rest of the fleet will continue preparations at the original location. For the next several hours, the humans worked frantically alongside their new allies. On the Luminary ships, Captain Alex drilled the alien crews relentlessly. No, 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 she shouted as his simulation ended in another failure. You don't keep your shields at maximum all the time. They'll burn out. You modulate them based on incoming fire patterns. The Luminary captain looked exhausted. Our systems were designed for meteoroid defense, not warfare. Alex softened slightly. Look, I know this is hard, but the Vex won't care if you're ready or not. Let's try again. Meanwhile, Raj marveled at Luminary technology while helping them upgrade their defenses. Your power systems are incredible, he told the Luminary engineers, but you've never weaponized any of this. Our society values creation, not destruction, one engineer explained. Raj patted a massive human cannon being installed on the Luminary flagship. Well, sometimes you need a little destruction to protect what you've created. As the deadline approached, Reynolds received an urgent call. The view screen showed the captain of the Intrepid, already in position near the Luminary homeworld. Admiral, the Vex fleet has arrived early. At least 30 warships. They're launching fighters and what look like landing craft. Reynolds turned to Trell. I thought you said they only wanted resources. Trell's face showed genuine fear. They do. But they have no regard for the beings living on the planets they claim. We're on our way, Reynolds said to the screen. Hold them off as long as you can. As the Defiant prepared to jump to the Luminary homeworld, Reynolds looked at the aliens working alongside his crew. They were learning quickly, but they remained fragile and untested. This will be the real test, he told Marcus. Not just of their technology, but of this alliance. Are they just hiring mercenaries, or are we really fighting together? The alarm sounded, and the massive engines of the Defiant roared to life. The humans were heading into battle alongside their new allies, about to face an enemy they had never encountered before. For the first time in history, humanity would fight not for Earth, but for another species entirely. The UES Defiant emerged from faster-than-light travel into chaos. The space around the Luminary homeworld blazed with weapons fire. The Intrepid, already engaged with the Vex fleet, showed damage along its port side, but continued to fight. Status report, Reynolds demanded, striding onto the bridge. The Intrepid has been holding the line, but they're outnumbered, reported the tactical officer. Luminary orbital defenses are failing. Vex landing craft have breached the atmosphere. On the main view screen, the Vex ships came into view. They were angular and dark, covered in weapon ports and armor plating. Unlike the elegant Luminary vessels, these were built for pure destruction. Open a channel to all ships, Reynolds ordered. When the communications officer nodded, he continued, This is Admiral Reynolds. Human and Luminary vessels. Form up on the Defiant. We are implementing Battle Plan Delta. Captain Alex's voice came through the comm. Sir, the Luminary captains haven't mastered those maneuvers yet. Then they'll learn by doing, Reynolds replied grimly. All ships, engage. The massive human warships surged forward, weapons systems coming online. The Defiant fired its main railguns, sending hypersonic projectiles tearing through space. 2 Vex ships exploded immediately, caught by surprise at the range and power of human weapons. From the Luminary command ship, Trell watched in amazement. They're attacking directly. But the Vex outnumber them 3-1. Numbers aren't everything, Marcus told him, standing at a console nearby. Watch. The human ships began complex evasive patterns while maintaining a coordinated firing solution. The Luminary vessels attempted to follow, though their movements were less precise. Still, the combined fleet presented a formidable challenge to the Vex. On the Luminary homeworld surface, Colonel Taylor led a team of human Marines. They had deployed when the first Vex landing craft were detected. Move up, Taylor shouted, firing her rifle at the advancing Vex soldiers. The aliens were strong, with natural armor that made them difficult to take down. But the humans were faster and more aggressive. A group of Luminary civilians watched from a safe distance, their eyes wide with shock as the humans engaged in direct combat. When a Marine was struck by enemy fire, receiving a wound that would kill a Luminary instantly, the crowd gasped as he simply applied a medical patch and continued fighting. They are like nothing we have ever seen, whispered one Luminary to another. Are they even mortal? In orbit, the battle intensified. 3 more Vex ships had been destroyed, but a Luminary vessel exploded under concentrated enemy fire. Their shields failed, Raj reported from his station. They didn't modulate as instructed. Reynolds nodded grimly. Continue the attack. Target their command ship. The Defiant's weapons officer locked onto the largest Vex vessel and fired a full salvo. The enemy ship's shields flared and failed under the assault. A second barrage tore through its hull, setting off a chain of explosions. On the tactical display, the remaining Vex ships began to pull back. They're retreating, Marcus observed. That was unexpected. They didn't anticipate our capabilities, Reynolds said. They thought they were facing only the Luminary. Hours later, after the Vex had fully withdrawn from the system, Reynolds met with Trell and the Luminary leadership in their central government building. The elegant structure contrasted sharply with the battle damage visible through its windows. You saved our homeworld, the Luminary Prime Minister said, her voice filled with emotion. We owe you a debt we cannot repay. Reynolds shook his head. This was only the first engagement. The Vex will return, and in greater numbers once they understand what they're facing. Then what do we do? Trell asked. We prepare, Reynolds replied. We train your people, upgrade your ships, and create a real fighting force, and then we take the fight to them. The Luminary leaders looked at each other, clearly uncomfortable with the idea. One spoke up hesitantly, you mean, attack the Vex. But we have never launched an offensive war. Sometimes, Reynolds said firmly, the best defense is a strong offense. If we wait here, they'll just gather their forces and come back stronger. We need to hit them where it hurts. As the Luminary reluctantly agreed, news of the victory spread across their worlds. Along with it came stories of the humans, their incredible strength, their willingness to face danger, their ability to keep fighting despite injuries. The peaceful Luminary had called upon the Deathworlders for help. Now they began to understand both the power and the danger of their new allies. 2 weeks after the defense of the Luminary homeworld, the combined human Luminary fleet orbited a distant moon. Training exercises filled every hour as the Luminary crews struggled to learn combat tactics that human soldiers had known since childhood. Again, Captain Alex ordered as the Luminary ship missed its target in the simulation. Your timing must be perfect. The luminary captain, exhausted but determined, nodded. "We will try again." Aboard the Defiant, Admiral Reynolds reviewed the latest intelligence with Marcus and Trell. "The Vex have pulled back to their supply base at Kelnar," Marcus explained, pointing to a star system on the tactical display. "They're gathering a larger fleet. Our estimates show at least 60 warships." Trell's silver features showed clear worry. "We cannot match those numbers." Reynolds smiled slightly. "We don't need to match their numbers. We need to hit them where it hurts." He tapped the display, highlighting a specific location. "Their main supply depot. Destroy that, and their invasion plans fall apart." "A raid?" Trell asked, surprised. "Into Vex territory." "Exactly. While they prepare to attack, we strike first." Later that day, as Reynolds walked through the Defiance corridors, strange sounds echoed from the ship's communication center. Entering, he found several monitors showing Vex broadcasts. "Psychological warfare," Marcus explained. "They're trying to intimidate us." The broadcast showed scenes of Vex warriors destroying targets meant to represent humans. The narration, translated by computers, called humans soft-skinned vermin and temporary obstacles. Reynolds laughed. "They really don't understand us, do they?" "No," agreed Marcus. "But I've been studying them, and I found something interesting." He brought up technical schematics. "Their ships have a design flaw. The main power conduits run close to the outer hull here and here. One good hit could cascade through their systems." Reynolds immediately saw the opportunity. "That changes our approach. Get me Technical Officer Raj." 3 days later, the human luminary fleet prepared for the raid. 6 human warships and 12 upgraded luminary vessels gathered at the jump point. In the Defiance launch bay, Colonel Taylor briefed her Marines. "This is a hit-and-run mission. We land, plant charges at key points, and get out. The Vex will fight hard to protect their supplies." One Marine raised his hand. "What about the luminary troops joining us?" Taylor glanced at the small group of luminary who had volunteered for ground operations. They stood apart, looking both determined and terrified. "They're providing technical support only. Keep them protected at all costs." The jump to Vex territory took less than an hour. When the fleet emerged, alarms immediately sounded. "Vex defense fleet detected," called the sensors officer. 8 warships moving to intercept. "Launch fighters," Reynolds ordered. "All ships, implement battle plan Omega." The human ships surged forward, weapons blazing. The luminary vessels moved in perfect formation behind them, applying the lessons they had learned so painfully. On the main view screen, the Vex ship exploded as targeted fire struck the weakness Marcus had identified. A cheer went up from the bridge crew. "Landing craft away," reported the flight controller. On the surface of the Vex supply moon, Colonel Taylor led her team through alien corridors. The Vex defenders fought fiercely, but the humans pushed forward with relentless determination. "Set charges here and here," Taylor ordered, pointing to key structural points. A young luminary technician named Liren worked quickly, his hands shaking but his movements precise. "The detonation will cascade through their fuel stores," he explained. "The entire facility will be destroyed." Suddenly, a squad of Vex soldiers burst through a side corridor. A Marine took a direct hit to the chest, his armor smoking. Despite the severe injury, he rolled to cover and continued firing. Liren watched in amazement. How is he still fighting? That weapon would kill any luminary instantly. "We're hard to kill," Taylor replied grimly, firing her rifle. "It's what makes us Deathworlders." In orbit, the battle intensified. 2 luminary ships had been destroyed, and the Defiant had taken heavy damage to its starboard sections. "Admiral," called the communications officer, "Colonel Taylor reports charges set. Extraction in progress." Reynolds nodded. "All ships, prepare to jump on my mark." As the last landing craft docked with the Defiant, the charges on the moon detonated. A blinding flash lit up space as the Vex supply depot erupted in a massive chain reaction. "Jump now," Reynolds ordered. The fleet vanished into faster-than-light travel just as Vex reinforcements arrived. Behind them, they left destruction that would cripple the Vex war machine for months. In the Defiance medical bay, Trell watched human doctors treat wounded Marines. One soldier with burns across half his body managed to smile and give a thumbs up to the horrified luminary. "Your people," Trell said quietly to Reynolds. "They continue despite such pain." "How?" Reynolds looked at his wounded crew with pride. "It's who we are. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We learned to survive, to endure. When we fight for something that matters, we don't stop." The luminary ambassador looked at the humans with new understanding. "I believe the Vex are beginning to learn this lesson as well." The grand conference hall on the neutral space station bustled with tension. 3 weeks had passed since the devastating raid on the Vex supply depot. Now, representatives from all 3 species gathered around a massive triangular table. Admiral Reynolds sat with Trell and other luminary officials on one side. Across from them, the Vex delegation radiated barely contained anger. Their leader, Commander Draz, was larger than the other Vex, his armored scales showing battle scars. "The Vex Empire demands the immediate withdrawal of human forces from this sector," Draz growled, his translator converting the harsh sounds to understandable speech. "Your interference in our rightful expansion is unacceptable." Reynolds remained calm. "Your rightful expansion involved the massacre of peaceful beings. That ended the moment we arrived." Marcus leaned close to Reynolds and whispered, "Their fleet is still gathering near their homeworld. They're stalling." Reynolds nodded slightly. "Let me be clear," he said to Draz. "We didn't come here to negotiate the terms of our departure. We're here to negotiate the terms of yours." Draz slammed his clawed hand on the table. "You are outnumbered. Our next attack will crush your pitiful alliance." "Will it?" Reynolds asked quietly. He activated a holographic display showing tactical data. "Our raid destroyed 60% of your fuel reserves and 70% of your munitions. Your shipyards are working overtime, but you can't replace those losses quickly enough." Draz's eyes narrowed. "You bluff." "No," Trell intervened, his voice steady despite his obvious fear of the Vex leader. "The humans do not bluff. They have shared this intelligence with us. It is accurate." Reynolds continued. "We have also analyzed your ship designs. We know their weaknesses now. The next battle won't be like the first." The conference continued for hours. Outside the hall, Colonel Taylor and her Marines stood guard, their very presence making the Vex representatives uncomfortable. Even in formal diplomatic attire, the humans looked dangerous. "Look at them," one Vex soldier muttered to another. "They breathe poison and carry twice their weight without effort." "I saw one take a plasma bolt to the chest and keep fighting," the other replied. "Are they even alive as we understand it?" By the day's end, the terms were set. The Vex would withdraw from luminary space entirely. A buffer zone would be established between their territories, monitored by both human and luminary patrols. "Sign it," Reynolds told Draz firmly. With clear reluctance, the Vex commander pressed his claw to the digital agreement. "This is not over," he hissed. "For now it is," Reynolds replied. "And should you reconsider this agreement, remember what a small human fleet did to your forces. Imagine what our full military response would look like." 2 days later, Reynolds and Trell stood in the observation dome of the Luminary flagship, watching stars streak by as they returned to luminary space. "Your people have given us more than protection," Trell said. "You've taught us to defend ourselves." Reynolds nodded. "The training programs will continue. Within a year, your military should be capable of handling most threats." "And what of our alliance?" Trell asked. "Will humans remain in our space?" "That depends on your council. We've set up a formal treaty for them to review. Technology exchange, mining rights, mutual defense." Around them, Human and Luminary crew members worked together at various stations. The differences between them remained obvious, but they had found ways to complement each other's strengths. "Word of what happened here is spreading," Trell said quietly. "Other species are asking about humans, some with interest, others with fear." Reynolds smiled slightly. "They should probably feel both. We're not looking for conflict, but we won't run from it either." As the fleet approached Luminary space, a transmission came through from Earth. The Security Council had approved the treaty and was sending additional ships to establish a permanent human presence in the region. The galaxy was changing. Humanity had stepped onto the cosmic stage, not as explorers or merchants, but as warriors coming to the aid of a peaceful race. Other civilizations watched and wondered what this would mean for the future. For the Luminary, the frightening Deathworlders had become valued allies. For humans, the vast universe had suddenly become much more complex and much more interesting. Reynolds looked out at the stars, thinking of the challenges ahead. "This is just the beginning," he said to himself. "Just the beginning."